street. But number four, I want to talk about for a little bit, just because it's I'd say the last two or three cases involving children have involved this, and we talked about that briefly in the first hour. But sudden fear of a closet, a room, an animal, not something from a movie they watch, but a constant fear. And you ask them why. Communication is always everything, and we will keep beating that into people tonight. Is communication is everything. Listen to your kids. But again, you've had this 3-year-old that slept in the same room for 3 years, and all of a sudden they're talking about something they're seeing or hearing. They're hearing voices, or they're seeing a shadow, the Hat Man, and now they're terrified of going in the kitchen. They're terrified of going in the playroom. They're terrified of going in a specific room. Now, to compound that, watch your pets, because your cats and dogs see in the fourth dimension. They can see the aliens. They can see the the spirits or other entities. Always pay attention to your animals. If your child is talking about their room or a specific room in the house and they won't go there, and neither will a cat or dog, then you might want to pay attention to that. And let's talk about voices. So you've got a 5-year-old that all of a sudden starts talking about, well, I'll say Grandma Janie. That's my grandma. They've never met Grandma Janie. Grandma Janie died before they were born. And they start describing her. And they start talking about voices that talk to them about Grandma Janie. Again, those are things you might want to pay attention to. You want to elaborate, Francie?
Well, I would just say, the coincidence is huge there that they've never met Grandma Janie, and then all of a sudden they start talking about, talking to her and stuff. That's pretty huge. So, like, out of the ordinary, too much of a coincidence, And people are busy, though. People are busy. If you've got little kids, you are busy. You miss stuff.
Exactly. And not saying anyone's stupid. Not don't take it that way whatsoever. But yeah, people are busy. They don't pay attention, and all of a sudden you've got your child looking at a photo album, pointing at someone, a loved one that's deceased, and saying, "I saw them in my dream." Yeah. And I want to bring up dreams for a second, because that was a question earlier in the chat room. But can spirits visit you or visit your children in dreams? And I firmly believe they can. I believe
yes, they can.
I believe your mind is the most open while you're sleeping and in dreams. And sometimes you're in your busy life, talking to you in your dreams is the easiest way to get your attention.
I think we travel when we're sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, it interdimensionally.
I think certain individuals can. I think not everyone can. So there is dream traveling. It's not like astral. It's different. And
no. I think it's
That's where you can go into other people's dreams and manipulate them. Some people can do this.
Oh my!
And as I was talking about earlier, a friend of mine's daughter, she sees her grandmother all the time in her dreams. And she'll come out and tell her mom, I saw Grandma last night, or Grandma talked to me, or Grandma told me this, and she'll give messages to her mother from her grandmother. So yes, they can.
So
it just depends on how open the child is.
Right.
Right.
Or
So
even,
my-
even to this.
If the parent doesn't react negatively.
Right.
Now, growing up, my grandpa on my dad's side was a complete asshole. He didn't like kids. And he was obvious that he didn't like kids. He was just a grumpy old man. And so we never had a relationship. He died in, I want to say, 1997. And within a week after he died, he came to me in a dream. And he apologized. He said, I'm really sorry for the way I treated you. You were my grandchild. I should never have treated you bad. And I apologize. I really regret that I didn't develop a relationship with my grandkids. Now, some skeptics would say, well, that was your mind healing itself. But could it have been him coming back to make amends? It could go either way.
Spirits can show up anytime. I remember one time driving up here in Whatcom County, and I'm driving on the freeway, of all places, and I glanced up in my rearview mirror, just watching traffic, and a face appeared in my rearview mirror. And I looked at my husband. I'm like, of course, and nobody was in the back seat. And it was just a one-time shot, but that image was in my mind. And I told him, I told my husband, I described him, and he's like, well, that sounds kind of like my grandfather. And I'm like, well, I don't know him. What's he doing coming to me? And next time we went to my husband's family's home, they have a bunch of pictures in the hallway, and I picked him out. I said, this is the one. And he's like, oh, my God, that's my grandfather. So they can come to you at any time.
Mm-hmm. I would have been in the ditch. Man.
No, because he was in the mirror, and the mirror's kind of small, so I wasn't afraid.
That's how all those roadway horror movies, that's how they start. That's how the first person dies in every single one.
Well, if he would have said something to me, I probably would have been in the ditch. That would have been a different story. But he didn't talk to me, so thank goodness.
Mike Myers didn't talk much either.
So we're coming down to tonight. Actually, flew. We're coming down to the last 20 minutes of the show, and I want to spend some time talking about poltergeists, because they can be entities, or spirits that are throwing things around. This has happened. We've seen it in cases, but one of the first things I ask clients when they talk about things being thrown around or things moving on their own is, do you have a prepubescent child? Specifically, do you have a prepubescent female? Because prepubescent females, if they have more energy than normal and it's not grounded, can actually manipulate energy without knowing it. Sometimes they do know it, and it's been shown to. And they can cause poltergeist activity. Now, I'm sure you've heard of that. I'm sure, haven't you, Francie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Would you also call that kinetic energy?
Yes. But when it comes to paranormal, they usually jump on poltergeist, but it is kinetic. It's the same thing, kinetic energy, the ability to move things. And all it really is excessive energy. You teach them how to ground the excess energy, and that you usually find the poltergeist activity stops.
We were talking about teaching mindfulness earlier. Would that be helpful also?
Say again?
Assuming meditation. Would teaching meditation be helpful for a certain age kid?
I would say so.
Because they're adolescents, they should be able to.
And that reminds me of someone's comment in the group about Ouija boards. And Ouija boards. I'm going to say this once: Ouija boards are merely tools of communication, but in the improper hands, if with improper protection and training, and when you don't close the gate, yes, you can cause problems. With that being said, there was a comment about meditation. Actually, it was a news article about the Vatican, or the lead exorcist saying yoga and meditation can cause possession.
Were the devil's work.
Yeah. Meditation can open your mind up to possession. I don't agree with that.
Maybe the yoga part.
Hot yoga.
Okay, so Nikki has a good question in the chat room. How do you teach a female child to ground who has a really difficult time grasping the concept yet can meditate? It's not that much of a stretch. So a very it's hard.
It wouldn't be hard.
No, but it's hard to explain on a radio show. Go into it real quick, Chris.
Of grounding?
Yeah.
It's just basically, you want to be in tune and in touch with the earth, and you're going to see. This is one thing I could do, Eric, is put it into, like Francie says, into easy terminology for kids, which I'm going to work on that. But since I'm speaking as adults now, the way we do it is we pull a white light up from the earth, up through your body, and we pull it all the way up into our head. This is why, Francie, I asked you the age question on the mentality on getting a child to be able to understand.
I would say 7.
Yeah. And so you pull the white light up into your head, and then as the white light comes back down through your body, you use that and imagine it as like a magnet, is what I would like to say. And you attach all of the negative energy and thoughts, and it's a thought imagination process. And as the ball
feelings.
Goes, yes, everything yucky, and you pull that back down through your body, and you put it back into the earth, and you give it to the earth, and the earth will absorb it and reprocess it. Then you go on to the step of shielding, which is pulling up the yellow. I make sure that there's 2 different colors. The white is for clearing. The yellow is for shielding, and that's what you're going to pull in, the positive energy from the earth. So that's 2 ways to do it, although, Jaretta, you and I need to pull up a child format with easy words and thoughts.
Okay.
Well, you should be able to.
We need to work.
Haley should be able to help you with that too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting it into child terminology.
It's like Fern
Yeah.
Valley.
Something fun
So
and
I have
easy for them.
I have a suggestion. Once you get that together, what if we taped it for kids to listen to, like a guided meditation, so they could listen to it?
That would be ideal, because you could make it a basic MP3 that if it was under 25 megabytes, you could send to clients through the chat that we use.
Mhm.
What about Haley recording it from a